Okay, well, welcome back to another episode of the Made on Long Island podcast. I'm Patrick Boyle, Executive Director of IgniteLI, joined by Ted over at Rechler Equity, and we want to talk a little bit today about the growth opportunities that are here on Long Island. I always stress that we should be looking towards new and emerging industries to grow our manufacturing businesses. We have offshore wind, we have cannabis, we have everyone that wants to reshore all their operations back here to the United States. But like, how do we do this in a way that makes sense for our shops, in a way that is advantageous for us as a community, as a hub of manufacturers? And we'd like to bring in our partners across the island, our subject matter experts that really focus in on manufacturing, can bring those benefits to our membership. And quite frankly, I mean, Ted's a pro. They've been phenomenal partners of Ignite for many years. And I just want to kind of introduce Ted and really, Ted, let you take it away and talk a little bit about what you do. And I want to hear more about real estate.
Thank you. So I am the Director of Leasing and Acquisitions for Rechler Equity Partners. We are a privately owned firm with over 6.5 million square feet of office industrial space in Suffolk County, as well as we are also now residential developers under the name Gray Barn. We have 500 rental units in Amityville, and we are expanding that horizon to meet the housing need on Long Island, which is a topic for another, perhaps, conversation. We spend our day with the core portfolio, which starts in Melville, Farmingdale. Our largest holdings are in Hauppauge. Then we're in Bohemia, Ronkonkoma, and we go all the way out to West Hampton, where we just completed 450,000 square feet in a 5-building portfolio that we did from ground up. The market has been, as everyone knows, very, very active in the industrial sector. It started in 2020, towards the end of 2020 with COVID. And as online demand increased because of COVID, so did the need, or the perceived need, of high bay warehousers to meet the demand that we didn't have here on Long Island. The result of that is going on today, where you'll see a number of buildings being developed in Hauppauge, in Brentwood, in Woodbury, in Melville, in Ronkonkoma, in Medford, close to 2 million square feet as a reaction to COVID. Now, for your members who are manufacturers, I'm not quite certain those are the buildings that will help them. If you have a member who is a 100,000 plus user, there is definitely inventory on the market that wasn't there a year ago. For the member who is a manufacturer, who is a 15 or 20,000 square foot user, they probably have been frustrated over the last few years because there's been a lack of inventory. Pricing has steadily increased, and it was very hard for them to get in place to make a deal.
Right.
Clearly, the e-commerce trend has paused, and that business has paused. What I see, and what we see on Long Island, is the food industry is exploding. There have been a number of large transactions that took place in the food industry. We see manufacturing still doing very well on Long Island, between renewing some of our existing manufacturing tenants, renewing and expanding even those same tenants. I'm in the middle of doing a deal now where we have a tenant who's almost doubling in size, who is a manufacturer and is getting the assistance of the Suffolk County Industrial Development Agency to help them with tax abatements to make the whole package work. So I think the trend is still strong in the industrial sector. I think the only difference today versus a year ago is you may see some more inventory than you did in the past. So if I was a member, perhaps there are more opportunities for that member to look at. That does not unfortunately correlate to lower pricing. Pricing has not adjusted.
Mhm.
I have not seen the pricing adjustment. The problem with the bigger buildings that we see going up is they were underwritten for a certain rental. And those are rentals that Long Island businesses just won't pay. They were meant to attract the national tenants who were doing the e-commerce business.
Right. Right.
And right now, that's not happening. That's not to say that these funds slash landlords will not adjust pricing, but in the end, I'm not sure how much of an adjustment you would see.
Right.
Uh, so
So,
that's where I think the market is today.
so I think, though, you mentioned a moment ago that there are opportunities for manufacturers today, and I think that was really very interesting for me to hear, because in all the conversations I have with a lot of the other business leaders, is they're saying something I think pretty interesting, almost counter to what you're saying, is that, with the interest rate, we're just afraid that blah blah blah. But you're saying there's opportunities out there right now for a manufacturer that's looking to grow. I think that's really interesting, and that's very unique, and I love that perspective.
Well, so from Rechler's standpoint, because that's the only standpoint I can give you, when you have a 6.5 million square foot portfolio, opportunity exists. And if you looked at our tenant base, many of our tenants are members with your group, with
Yep.
Ignite.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Whether it be the pharmaceutical industry and Hot Bug, or the defense industry, or any manufacturing, you'll see that they're probably tenants of Rechler. So, as I said earlier, a year ago, if Rechler knew a building was going to come on the market because another tenant was leaving, that building would probably have been pre-leased 3 months before the lease expiration.
Right.
Today, because there's somewhat of a perception of the economy slowing down and rising interest rates, maybe it won't be pre-leased 3 months before its lease expiration, but it'll be pre-leased pretty close to the end of that lease expiration. So that's where the opportunity exists.
Sure. Sure. Now, you mentioned a couple seconds ago, the new developments in your portfolio, and I want to do a deeper dive in that. But I think something that a lot of folks kind of overlook is, and it's something that you guys have been addressing for a long time, is housing, right? And the Gray Barn part of your portfolio is phenomenal. And if anyone has taken a tour of the Gray Barn, it's such a good project, and it's addressing that desperate need for achievable housing, good housing in areas that are um, that are transportation hubs, right? That people can get to, that people can work at, right? These are the things that may not necessarily be related directly to manufacturing, but have a dramatic impact on our manufacturers' ability to attract and retain talent here to Long Island. But can you tell us? I mean, definitely talk to me a little bit about the Gray Barn, but
So,
everything else in your portfolio.
so the Gray Barn in Amity, use that as an example, right by Southern State. So we have a defense tenant who said to me, she said, I need engineers, but engineers don't want to live in their parents' basement anymore. They want to be able to go out and be able to afford housing. And so we have built 1 and 2 bedroom apartments for lifestyle with amenities, with pools and gyms and movie theaters. And it has attracted that population. And because it's in Amityville by Southern State, somebody can be employed anywhere. All I have to do is hop on the Southern State, whether they're going to Hauppauge North or Bohemia or Ronkonkoma, or for that matter, go into Nassau County.
Sure.
It was a good answer to a problem. It's not going to solve the problem overnight, but it's the right direction. And the Rechler legacy is development. We've always been pioneers in development, whether it be when the grandfather came out and bought 1,100 acres in Hauppauge when the expressway stopped at exit 39, or when our patriarch Donald and Roger Rechler were developing Bohemia and Ronkonkoma to build R&D buildings because of the high demand from the defense industry, to today Mitchell and Greg Rechler answering that problem of housing with the Gray Barn patent and name. So to be clear, we are developing and we continue. The latest project we're developing is 73 acres in Medford. It's located at exit 65 of the LIE, literally a half a mile south of the LIE. And we're putting up our first building, 10 Donald's Way, which is going to be 140,000 square foot, 28 clear warehouse, but could also be for a manufacturer. The difference between Rechler and the competition who came out to build large industrial warehouses is we will divide for the smaller user. These other competitors may divide into half, 60,000, 70,000. We can actually do a 15,000 square foot deal, a 20,000 square foot deal. It's sewered, so, and it has tremendous benefits through the IDA in the town of Brookhaven because it's new construction. So you're a manufacturer, you call up Rechler, there's two choices. Here, this is who I am. I have 2 locations. I have to consolidate. My business is on a growth trajectory, and I need 40,000 square feet. I need so many amps of power, so much office, so much loading, and I need parking. And I need to be near transportation because I have people that come in by not just car, but bus. Sure. Now you're talking to a landlord who can offer you 2 potential answers to that, which could be go to our core portfolio. This is what's available on the second generation space, the space that exists, whether it be in Melville or Farmingdale or any other submarket. The second choice is come out to Medford and let me build you a building in Medford, or let you be part of a building we're building in Medford. And for the manufacturer, what they like about it is we are a turnkey operation. We build it, we manage it, we do all of the property management, and there is a voice to talk to when you have an issue. We are in it, and I've always been in it for the long haul in Long Island. We are not building something to lease it and sell it to make money as an exit strategy. That's not who Rechler is or will be. We are operators of real estate. So I think it really starts with, if I'm a manufacturer today and I say, Patrick, I have an issue. I need space. I can't find space, is really writing down what your space needs are, seeing where you want to be geographically because of your labor pool, where people are commuting from, and then contacting either through a broker or your landlord or to Rechler, if we're not your landlord,
sure,
and starting the process. That's the best way to deal with the anxiety of trying to find space in a market where there's not a lot of space.
And if anyone's having that anxiety right now, how are they going to get in touch with you?
Well, for me, it's easy. My name is all over signs, all over Hop.
Yes, it is.
You can call me at 631-414-8444. We're located at 85 South Service Road, or you can just go on to our webpage, Rechler Equity Partners, and you can see our listings on our webpage, as well as the latest drone and aerial of Medford and what we're planning in Medford for future development. And I think the good news is for your members, is there should be some opportunity right now. Nobody knows how long anything's going to last, whether it's a blip in the market, whether e-commerce comes back in the market. But right now, there is some availability. The cost.
That's great to hear. That's a phenomenal message. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
And the other problem is the cost of construction is through the roof, and it's not cheap to build. So, if you have a budget and you're trying to keep within a budget, new construction may not be an option depending on what that budget is. But the beauty of new construction is if you're building it from the ground up for your particular company, where you think you may need 60,000 square feet, you may be able to design a building of 50,000 square feet because you're doing it from the ground up versus taking something that's existing, building the offices that you need the way you need it, building your production the way you need it, putting in air conditioning where you need the air conditioning for your production, and leaving your warehouse space with the proper loading. So that's what I would be doing. And that's the simplest way you can go into this market. It's definitely better than it was last year. I'm not sure it gets worse again and that there'd be less availability. We saw a little bit of a pause for about 4 weeks. Now we see an increase in tours, property tours, and calls and inspections. So
Great.
we're still active here on Long Island.
Yes, sir. That's great news. And you've just proven it by what you just said. You guys are certainly subject matter experts in this field, and that's really who Ignite is looking to work with. We bring in all of our partners from across the board, from real estate to banking to accounting. We really want to focus on the folks that know what they're talking about and can really bring these services to our membership. Thank you, Ted. I mean, you guys have proven it time and time again your commitment to Long Island and to the long haul. You mentioned it a couple minutes ago, but seriously, you guys have been great partners of Ignite for many years now, and I know I see Rechler everywhere I go with all the museums and all the local nonprofits. You're doing it, so thank you very much again.
Thank you, and thanks for having us. And any of your members, feel free to call us. We're here to help.
Very good. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Patrick.